Are you ready to buy your own house but are wondering where exactly you should get a home loan to buy it? Well, watch this video before deciding, where we briefly go over some pros and cons of going with a mortgage broker versus just going to a bank to get a mortgage. So before we get into the pros and cons, let me take a moment to clarify some stuff. So by bank, I'm specifically referring to financial institutions that are chartered by the government to accept deposits from customers and use those deposits to make loans to other customers. So if you didn't get any of that, just know that when I mention bank, I don't mean credit union, online lenders, or other financial institutions. And if mortgage broker is a new term for you, just think of them as matchmakers for people who want to get a loan to buy a house and mortgage lenders. Alright, so now that we have those things out of the way, let's get into the pros and cons. Alright, so let's talk about banks. So one of the benefits of going with a bank to get a mortgage loan is definitely going to be the convenience aspect of it. So because banks have actual physical locations, you can walk in and actually talk to an actual person, and you can express to them any questions, comments, or concerns that you might have, and also just the fact that they can guide you through the loan application process. And also not to mention the fact that you can manage your mortgage loan online, which I think is pretty convenient. Right, on to the second benefit, which is saving money. So banks can typically have lower interest rates, lower fees, and lower closing costs. So going with a bank can possibly save you a bunch of money. Alright, benefit number 3, which is going to be stability. Some lenders sell their loans to other lenders, sometimes shortly after closing. This can result in a change of loan terms, payment options, and even payment due dates. So you can see how this can be a bit of an inconvenience. But banks typically hold on to their mortgages instead of selling them to other lenders. So if you're looking for stability and predictability with your mortgage payments, getting a mortgage loan with a bank might be right for you. But those are going to be the benefits of getting a mortgage loan with a bank. But what are the drawbacks? Let's get into it. So banks normally only offer their own mortgage loan products and programs. So you're going to have a little bit of a limited selection when it comes to that. In comparison to a mortgage broker, which we will be getting into in a little bit, which has a variety of loan programs and loan products because of their lending partners that they have access to. Number 2, stricter requirements. So banks typically require a higher credit score and a stable income when it comes to approving a loan. So if you have a lower credit score and a fluctuating income, then you may have a harder time getting approved with a bank. Coming up on number 3, we have slower processing. The application process with a bank may take a little bit longer. This is due to more documentation and information that's needed to be given upfront, and also the more layers of approval that your loan has to go through before they make a decision to approve or deny your loan. But those are going to be the pros and cons with going with a bank, but let's get into the pros and cons of going with a mortgage broker. Alright, starting from the top with benefit number 1, which is more options. So mortgage brokers are partnered up with other mortgage lenders, which gives them access to other loan products and other loan programs, and all in all gives you more options that you could choose from. So on to number 2, which is saves time. So the way that a mortgage broker can save you time is taking care of the shopping process for you. So they'll be the ones calling around to different lenders and comparing different loan options with them and basically finding the best deal and then basically doing all the shopping process for you. So on to the third benefit of working with a mortgage broker when getting a mortgage loan is competitive rates. So one of the ways that a mortgage broker can get you a good deal is by pitting the banks and the mortgage companies up against each other to fight for your business. And as a result, getting you a really good deal. Alright, mortgage broker, looking pretty good, making a good name for yourself. But what are the drawbacks or the cons to using one? So, alright, so starting us off with number 1 is going to be higher fees. Like I mentioned with banks can have like a little bit more lower closing costs in general, but that's not exactly the case with the mortgage broker. On top of their commission, they can also charge application fees and processing fees. So in turn, the mortgage broker is going to have a little bit more higher fees in general. Alright, number 2, limited amount of lenders. So like I said, mortgage brokers are partnered up with other mortgage lenders. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have access to every single mortgage lender in existence. So the products and programs that they're able to offer you are going to be limited by the selection of lenders that they're partnered up with. Moving on to number 3, lack of control. Okay, so let me give you an example. So let's say that you are interested in a specific lender or a specific loan program. A mortgage broker may recommend you to a different loan program or lender based on their understanding of your financial situation. This may be a little frustrating, especially if you really want a specific loan product or program, or want to go with a specific lender. If you do go the mortgage broker route, it's important to find one that prioritizes your needs and preferences. So those are going to be the pros and cons, the benefits, the drawbacks to using a mortgage broker versus getting a mortgage from a bank. So I would recommend going with a bank if you have a high credit score and stable income that would meet the bank's strict underwriting requirements, and or you want to keep all your financials, your banking, and everything with your mortgage all in one place. So I would recommend a mortgage broker if you don't meet the strict standards and requirements of banks, you want a more hands-off approach and more hands-off experience when it comes to the mortgage loan process, you want to save time, and you want to have a more wider selection of mortgage products and mortgage programs when it comes to the selection that you have. But yeah, those are going to be the pros and cons of using either a mortgage broker or a bank to get a home loan. I can't really say if one is absolutely better than the other, but that really just depends on the bank or the broker that you use. I personally would go with the broker if I knew the broker personally, or I knew the broker had a great reputation. And I would go with a bank if there was a specific bank I wanted to work with. So which one would you go with, and why? Let me know down in the comments. If you're not exactly at the point where you're ready to buy a house, maybe you're still waiting because you're trying to get your credit up. If that's you, definitely check out this video where I go over some tips on how to get your credit up.